tell me the truth. If someone told you back in 2014 that Lana Del Rey would one day marry a man who feeds alligators in Louisiana, would you have believed it? Honestly, me neither. Because for us, Lana has always been about diamonds, retro curls, the blinding flash of paparazzi cameras, and men with that dangerous, dark charisma. It was all limousines and tragedies. That classic, he destroyed me, but I still love him vibe. And then, the bayou. Camouflage. Silence. The internet practically exploded. Insiders were whispering. And fans, they were torn. But the most interesting part was just beginning. Because, let's be real, the story with Jeremy isn't about running away. It's the final point in a long, deeply personal evolution. To end up in that boat in the middle of the fog, Lana had to survive dozens of romances where she slowly learned how to finally be herself. And it all started way before Born to Die. Back when there was no Lana, there was only Lizzie. Before the world knew Lana Del Rey, there were men who knew Lizzie, a girl who was just a little too romantic for this world. Let's go back to 2005. No winged eyeliner, no vintage gowns, no paparazzi, just New York, New Jersey, tiny stages, cheap bars, the smell of beer, and a guitar that was always a bit out of tune. Elizabeth Grant was singing for free drinks, just hoping someone would hear her. And that's where the first men appear. Stephen Mertens, the producer of her early recordings. He saw her potential. It was raw, strange, but totally magnetic. He tried to package her melancholy into a commercial format to make it simpler. But Lizzie already felt she wasn't about simple. It was an experiment. He was the mentor, she was the student. And as it usually goes, where the studio ends, the romance begins. But the real chemistry happened later. Jimmy Necco, older, a rocker. He had that specific shadow in his eyes that makes 20-year-old girls lose their minds. He wasn't just there, he was the atmosphere. They lived like they were in an indie movie. Motels, fast food, talking about music until dawn. She looked at him like he was her ticket to a real life. And this is where the Lana we love was born. The songs about pain, the worship of the dangerous man, the beauty of suffering. Insiders said later that these relationships taught her how to turn personal trauma into art. But behind closed doors, it wasn't so poetic. There were tears, doubts, the fear that without him, she was nobody. And you know what's the most touching part? These men saw a regular girl, but she was already dreaming of becoming a myth. When it ended, it hurt, deeply. But with that pain came a realization, if she stayed just Lizzie, she'd never be heard. So the transformation begins. She doesn't just change her name, she creates Lana Del Rey. But tell me, what if Jimmy had stayed? If she chose love over the legend, would we even know the name Lana Del Rey today? 2011. Lana Del Rey isn't that girl from the bar anymore. She's a character now. Perfect eyeliner, a sultry voice, and songs that sound like love letters to bad boys. And then comes Barry James O'Neill, a Scottish musician. Long hair, a mystical gaze, black coats. They looked like a couple from an art film you'd watch late at night with a glass of wine. The paparazzi caught them in London, and honestly, the chemistry was insane. Fans called them twin flames. They even looked alike, like two reflections of the same melancholy. They wrote together. They drowned together. It was love at maximum volume. But behind closed doors, it was too intense. Too much darkness for just two people. In a mirror, if you stay too long, you disappear. So she left. And then, Francesco Carazzini enters the frame. 2014 to 2015. A whole different fairy tale. An Italian director. The son of Vogue's legend, Franca Sozzani. The Amalfi Coast, yachts, white dresses, golden sunsets. If Barry was passion, Francesco was aesthetic. Every outing was a photo shoot. Every kiss was a scene from a Fellini film. But rumors said that in this perfect picture, Lana was feeling suffocated. She was beautiful, yes, but was she happy? It felt like Francesco fell in love with the Lana image. But Lana wanted someone to see Elizabeth. And the irony? Her career was peaking. But inside, a quiet question was growing. If the whole world loves your myth, who will love the real you? 2017. Lana is a superstar now. And then comes G-Eazy, a totally different breed. Not a poet in a coat, not a director with a yacht, a charismatic rapper with a bad boy reputation and parties until sunrise. At first, it looked like an experiment. Lana testing the waters. What if I tried drive instead of tragedy? They were bold, dangerous. But girls, we know dangerous rarely means forever. The gossip was everywhere. Different rhythms, different values. And then, the betrayal everyone discussed. His name next to another singer. The paparazzi did their job. The internet exploded. Lana, the one who sang about fatal devotion, was publicly humiliated. Insiders whispered that this was when she truly grew tired of industry romances. It hurt more than she let on. So what does she do? She makes a hard left turn. 2019. She goes public with a cop. Sean Larkin, not a musician, not a director, a real deal officer from Oklahoma. The internet didn't get it, but if you look closer, it was an attempt to ground herself. After the chaos, order. After the glamour, simplicity. With him, she looked unposed, like she was trying to live a normal life. But it didn't last. Maybe the distance was too much, or maybe her heart already knew. This wasn't the finale yet, and here is the question. After betrayal and heartbreak, what does a woman do? Does she go back to chasing the myth? Or does she finally start looking for a home? Believe me, her next choice will shock you even more. She was used to being hunted by the paparazzi, but then, at some point, she was the one swiping right, 2020 to 2021. The world stopped. The red carpets vanished. And Lana, she became almost ordinary. And here comes Clayton Johnson, a guy she reportedly met on a dating app. Yes, that app. The internet was like, wait, Lana is on Tinder? It was cute at first. Home photos, simple selfies, a quiet engagement. But these fast romances burn bright and fade fast. Then came Jack Donahue. This was an aesthetic revolution. Underground musician, dark energy, no vintage dresses, just raw vibes. Fans were confused. Was it a rebellion? A crisis? Maybe both. Rumors said Lana was intentionally breaking her own image, testing us. If I stop being a beautiful legend, will you still stay? But behind the rebellion was exhaustion. She didn't want to be a muse anymore. By 2023, Evan Winnaker appears. Serious, calm, a safe choice. A bridge back to stability. But sometimes, safe is just boring for the heart. She was wearing a life that didn't belong to her. Like a dress that looks great, but you can't breathe in it. She realized she wasn't looking for another romance. She was looking for silence. And tell me, when you get tired of the noise, of the expectations, of other people's scripts, where do you go? Back to the glamour or to the place where nobody knows your name? Because her next step would be her most radical one yet. She wasn't looking for a prince to save her number. She was looking for the one who would help her blow up the tower of the myth. The myth she built herself. September 2024, Louisiana, the foggy bayou. And there he is, Jeremy Dufrene, an alligator hunter, a swamp guide, a man with hands hardened by real work. Fans are in shock. A swamp romance? The headlines were screaming. But Jeremy doesn't know who Lana Del Rey is. He doesn't care about her records. To him, she's just a woman he likes to sit in a boat with. And that's where the magic happens. The Chameleon Syndrome, years of masks, of shifting herself for every man, it finally breaks. She doesn't have to be a muse. She doesn't have to be content. She doesn't have to be a myth. Look at her now, in 2026. That dead emptiness in her eyes from 10 years ago, it's gone. She's laughing, she's boring, she's happy. She finally allowed herself to just exist. The flashbulbs are far away. There's no pressure to be a legend anymore. Lana Del Rey stopped existing for others and found Elizabeth Grant for herself. So I have to ask you, after everything, what's more important? Being a legend or being a free woman who finally allows herself to just live? That's it, girls. The myth died right where life began. And if you listen to the rustle of the swamp and the quiet breath of the wind, you can almost hear Elizabeth Grant smiling for the first time in forever.